Hey, Craig, before we let you go and we wrap, I
Sure.
have 11:09 now. And maybe Joe, this is just more from my personal understanding of how this OPEB system works. We have over $50 million in liability as a
Right.
community. And I know we're not alone in that boat. A lot of communities are in the same situation. So as we try to fund this liability going forward, um, is it natural that the liability, without making any substantial payments, will go down with the passing of retirees or individuals whose benefits were not properly funded? Because we are funding going forward, are we not, Joe? We're not contributing to the liability right now. Hey, Mike, come on. We're not contributing to that liability, correct? Today, this is all past grievances or past practice. Is that right?
So, I mean, I have experience, with pension plans, pension liabilities, so really, there's a couple of factors going on. So when they, an actuarial firm or an actuary will look at basically the obligations that exist due to promises surrounding, pension payments, for the population of current retirees and future retirees. And then they'll use an interest rate to create a present value of that anticipated or estimated stream of cash flows that have to be made in the future. So really, what happens is some are being paid currently, some haven't been paid yet, but they're going to take an estimate of all those potential payments and then use a discount rate, bring that to a present value. And that's the liability.
And the liability is the calculation if all of those individuals had to receive the benefit at the same time.
Not at the same time necessarily, because, if there's a commitment to provide pension payments to somebody who's 40 years old now, they're gonna factor in an amount for that, and they're gonna factor in the amount for somebody who's currently receiving it, who's maybe 70 years old. So it's really like looking at the obligation that's been made based on the current promises, in a sense, or the structure of like those pension payments that are anticipated to be made. So what public companies have done is they've gone ahead and like changed the benefit structure, and then that's one way to reduce that liability or that obligation, is to say, well, we're freezing what people will get, and they're taking different steps to make that liability become less over time. I don't think in this case that's maybe not on the table. So
I guess back to my question, I was under the impression, Joe, please help if you can, that our OPEB liability was the liability of employees who are not currently active. That the current employee benefits are fully funded.
Okay.
So my question is, if there are 100 employees in Norfolk County, 75 of which are retired and 25 of which are active, this liability is coming from the 75. That's how I understand.
I mean, that could be right. You could be fully funding the active employee pool. I don't have materials that have kind of allowed me to dive in and look at those numbers.
Because my theory was that the 75, they will all die at some point, and when they die, does the $54 million liability just go away? Does it decrease due to mortality?
Yeah, it would.
That's what I thought. If you do nothing else.
Yeah, if you do nothing else, because then for each person that dies, that liability is removed from that stream of overall obligations.
And I understand these are questions that I think these would go to stone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, our consultant that does this, but in the interest of killing time, Treasurer Bellotti has joined us. Unfortunately, I don't think the two of us make a quorum.
Right.
Mr. Wheeler's here from the registry. He's not signed in as a representative of the register, so we do not have a quorum, Craig.
Sure, no, that's fine.
The school, to see if you can zoom in. Maybe-
Sure, I'll leave that to you.
Joe, do you do that? Because we want officially be on the books as having a meeting.
No problem.
Not that there's any major decisions or votes going on right now, right?
Joe, meeting minutes.
That's it.
Believe so. According to the agenda, did you get a copy of the agenda?
Yes, about the other. So Marguerite is usually the appointee, right?
Right.
For Billy?
Right.
You call Marguerite or? Do you know if she's like in Denham area or you don't know?
I haven't seen it this morning.
Okay, so she
Yeah.
could be somewhere.
So would I mean, if I'm non-voting, but I still can factor in to making a quorum?
I don't think so technically. Billy probably doesn't know that. It's probably what, like a written designation?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And you probably have one for Marguerite, right?
Marguerite was at the meeting in October as the representative of the registry, so I presume there's a lot, I presume Joe has something on file for her.
Yeah, if we just get one more person online, I just want to
Charlie
officially,
Ryan's the other one.
I just text Charlie. Just come in and Zoom. And just granted, no big agenda going on, but
Right.
that's the other one. Howie, how are you? Yes. Yeah. If you're on, it's not a long meeting. It's the OPEB meeting. You're a trustee on it. And, yeah, we basically set the approve the minutes. I just want to be on record as having that meeting.
How often do they have the meetings, John? Twice a year?
This one was October 12th.
Oh, the last one was on?
I'm gonna guess it's annual. These are the treasurers meetings, so
What's that?
these are the treasurers. I'm just here for the eye
Right,
candy,
right.
just eye candy.
I had no idea what it was, but I kind of looked up the statute and everything.
Yep.
It's a matter of funding non-pension liabilities for retired county employees.
Well, in this case, it's monitoring the
I have
the
that.
investment
Right.
of funds that have been put against the liability.
Voicemail.
For Wallace?
Yeah.
He's talking to Charlie Ryan right now. Let's see if Charlie can join us. Sure, Craig would be rather somewhere else right now, right, Craig?
No, I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
Where are you located?
We're in Braintree, so Braintree Hill Office Park. Not really too excited to get outside today. It's
No.
looks like it's gonna rain for most of the
I heard
day.
high winds are coming too. So
It was raining when I came in.
we may see some power outages later. Big storm. So what did we get, like 2-3 inches last week?
I know. See, you
I
get
don't-
what you asked for, right?
I dug a hole to plant a mum.
Can somebody let Charlie in the meeting?
Oh, there he is. Just popped in.
Okay, count to 30.
And Mint.
Hope you got a
Charlie
time.
Ryan's joined us now,
Okay.
Craig.
Okay, good.
Anyways, 2 inches down, dry as a bone.
Really? Well, wow.
Hey, Charlie. Oh, let's see, he's connecting now. I'll turn over to you to run it, Mike. I'll turn over to you.
Because it sounds early, we have to read this. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to call to order, right? I'm calling this meeting to order.
Yep.
Norfolk County OPEB Trust Meeting. It's Tuesday, September 13th. We're at the Norfolk County Administration Building, right here at 1614 High Street. On Thursday, March 12, 2020, Governor Baker issued a quote, order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. And the quote, that order was effective immediately until it was rescinded or the state of emergency is terminated. On July 17, 2022, by action of the legislature, the order was extended until March 31st, 2023. So the agenda is going to call to order. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call. So what do we have here? We have Member Bellotti is here. You're a designee for the commissioners.
Yeah.
So
Josh Ronan.
Cronin is here. Member Trustee Charlie Baker is, Charlie, how long? Charlie Ryan is here.
Yeah, I'm here. So can you let me in again? I'm gonna get on my computer. I was on my phone, so I will get in on my computer will be better, but I am here. So I'm waiting to get in on my computer.
Recording in progress.
And I'm in. All right.
Can you hear us okay, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta shut this off.
Get that one in. He dropped off.
Sorry about that. That was me.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay, so do we want to?
Charlie Baker's on the line.
I need to trust you. Do we want to identify everybody else who's here for the sake of the business?
Sure.
So why doesn't anybody else identify themselves? The people in the room. Joe, start with you.
Joe Diore, recording secretary.
Ed Wheeler, Registry of Deeds.
Thanks, Ed. From Marshall.
Yeah, I'm Craig Hartnett from Marshall Wealth Management.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to ask for a motion for review and approval of the minutes of October 12th, 2021.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, second. So trustee Charlie Ryan.
Aye.
Okay, trustee member Mike Bellotti, aye. Trustee John Corner,
Aye.
commissioners designee, aye. The motion is passed. We have a vote. So the minutes are approved. Why don't we do a quick review of the portfolio performance statement as presented by Mike Marshall's designee, Craig. Want to do that quick,
Yes.
Craig?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, sure. So, I think you guys received a copy of the holdings and the performance year to date. So, that was, back at the end of August, that was taken. Year to date, the performance was negative, just over 10%, 10.02%. It shows the various holdings. So the composition of the portfolio, just to mention it rather quickly, is 43% equity, and then about 57% fixed income. The performance year to date, as I mentioned, was just down, just on about 10%. And if we look at the different asset classes, that's really what's driving that performance. So, US equities were down about 14% so far this year, non-US equity down 18%, and domestic fixed income down over 8%. So, it's really been a year where equities have been down sharply and fixed income has been down sharply also. So that's what is needed. It's a atypical scenario in that both equities and fixed income are lower, and that's resulting in the overall performance of down about 10%. I mentioned when we had the call recently, just since the start date, the performance is positive 2.6% annualized. Over the last 5%, about 2.4%. So those numbers are obviously pulled down by the 1 year number of down just over 9% and the year-to-date number just over 10%. So that's an overview of the actual return numbers. I mean, if you want any more details on the composition of the portfolio, the breakdown of the asset classes or fund holdings, I can provide some extra clarity on that. But if you were really just looking for the performance numbers, then that was those numbers.
Right, Craig, and kind of the agenda item number 5 is basically what we're going to dovetail right into right now, a discussion of the current financial markets and the impact on the fund. Just for edification for folks beyond the few of us students, how much is in the fund right now?
The fund right now is, let's see the total. As of, August 26, it was 2.16 million.
Okay. And in terms of the asset classes, you don't have the power to shift to other asset classes, right? Unless we do a vote. Is that true?
Yeah, we're not,
Oh.
the asset classes aren't being shifted.
Right.
So,
And I don't know how you folks feel about it. I'm just the chairman here, and
We heard from Craig a couple weeks ago when he did a similar report, and I think his recommendation was that notwithstanding the 10% loss on the funds, that we stay the course, that we keep.
because in the long term, we could shift over the real estate and some other.
We recognize that there's some
short-term hedges.
volatility right now, but Craig, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you
Sure.
recall, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, you had a recommendation that a long-term view is not worth at this point changing course for. Is that correct?
right, I mean, I wouldn't shift away from, the equity exposure that you've had. I mean, so, the market's down, we go through cycles, where the last year was an extremely positive year, the S&P 500, so the large cap US index up over 25%. So this year, the decline in the equity market and fixed income markets is a direct result of the Federal Reserve, going into an interest rate increasing campaign in a very aggressive manner to try to, reduce the inflationary pressures that everybody's been dealing with and feeling in the economy. So, it's a cycle, and we're on the down part of the cycle right now. So yeah, by exiting any of the equity positions, you're really just locking in that loss rather than allowing the market time to come back. So 3 to 5 year to 10-year type of horizon, you should get more normalized positive equity market returns. So yeah, I didn't recommend selling positions now because the market's lower so far this year.
Okay, so I know we brought this up before. What are we using for an index to kind of measure that 10.02 number against?
Yeah, so the indexes that you have, I mean, there's about 15% in just sort of index funds that track the S&P 500. There's a large cap value allocation. So, that would be more like, they call it the Russell Value Index, and that's about 4%. There's 5% to mid cap. So that would be, maybe an S&P 500 mid cap index. And then there's about 3% to small cap equities. So, those are the broad allocations. On the fixed income side, there's about a 7% allocation to corporate bonds. There's a 3% allocation roughly to what they call bank loans. There's an 8% allocation to high yield bonds. And there's a little bit over an 8% allocation to inflation protected bonds. So those are bonds that as inflation goes higher, they actually benefit rather than get negatively impacted. There's a 15% allocation to intermediate core bonds, and there's a 7 3/4 allocation to ultra short bonds. So it's diversified across equity, fixed income, and with more diversification in terms of different sub asset classes.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right.
So what, should I just move on to topics you think of next?
I don't know if there's any questions.
Any questions, anybody? You sure? Okay. Joe?
Nope.
So are there any topics that the chair did not reasonably anticipate would be discussed? I think we've kind of covered it all.
Well, if I could, Mr. Chairman, a couple of
Please.
things. While you were coming up, we were talking about the status of several of the members of the trust. I think through Joe, you still are owed some papers through their respective organizations. Mr. Wallace owes you a paper. I think, Charlie, you need a paper from Joe Reardon designating you to this role. Yes?
I have no idea.
Charlie, I emailed you yesterday. I said I would reach out to Joe for that since Paul Connors had appointed you last time. We just need a new vote from, new letter from Joe appointing you to the board.
If you could go to him and get that, Joe, that would be great.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay.
Appreciate
And
it.
then, we believe Marguerite is an appointed designee.
Not officially, so that's why we need,
So you need the.
or
registrar
even
to do
Ed,
something.
if he just appoints either Marguerite or Ed to fill in when he's not available. Yeah,
That's all.
So Mike, just as an FYI, I think there's some cleanup that has to be done administratively to get the trustees lined up.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So, I guess that's it.
before we adjourn, can I just, Marshall Wealth Management also needs some paperwork from all the trustees.
Yes.
I had emailed it out, the information that needed to be filled out to all the trustees maybe 2 months ago, but I don't think anybody responded yet, so I'll send that out again. If you can fill it out and send it back to me, and then I'll get it out to the firm.
What kind of paperwork was it?
It's just, you just need like name, address,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just
signatures.
clerical stuff,
Yeah.
basically. Okay, is that it?
Well,
So, I'm gonna call for adjournment. Should we take a vote on that?
Motion
Okay,
to adjourn.
okay,
Second that.
trustee Ryan,
Aye.
trustee Bellotti, aye, trustee John Cronin.
Aye.
I think that's it for votes. The motion is passed and approved. This meeting is officially ended.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you for coming on, Charlie.
See you, Charlie.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, we got that in the books. It's in the books.
When will the next meeting be, do you know?
It's usually quarterly,
Yeah,
right?
we try to do quarterly.
I think we should just like pick a date within a couple of weeks.